So starting my test drive in the F150 Lightning, the XLT, I didn't know what this button down here did, but I realized that the little clock with the N, that is going to be the button you have to push when you put your truck into neutral. Now in the Mustang Mach-E, you have to hit the low gear button on the little dial shifter. So you can't just put it into neutral, you have to hit L and then it puts you into the full neutral. Same thing here, you can't just put the shifter into neutral, you have to put it into neutral and then you have to hit that button. So just keep that in mind if you are ever going through the car wash or anything like that. But this rides much better than the Mach-E does. And it's still a bit bouncy, but it's not as choppy as the Mach-E is. And of course, with that being a sports car, it doesn't bother me at all. I put 40,000 miles on mine. Just when I take longer road trips, it can get uncomfortable, but for the most part, these are gonna be bouncy, but it's just due to the platform, the weight distribution and all of that. So I'd rather have a car that handles with having that lower center of gravity than one that rides well and doesn't handle well. But that's just my opinion. But overall, truck drives really nice. It's just crazy to be in something this big, and of course it's zero emission, but you're not hearing an engine. It just doesn't go with trucks. But love how this drives, and I've driven a Pro, and it's just crazy how quick these trucks are. And I got to ride in a Lariat at an auto show once, and they just ran it probably about 300 feet or something, but still it was insane because that one had the bigger battery with the dual motor, so you get more power, and it was nuts. But this is nuts too still. But where these really shine and they start to save you money is driving around town here, having the regenerative braking. I'm in normal mode now, so the pedal's not as touchy. It drives like a pickup truck in terms of the throttle response, and I love that. But the overall comfort of the seat, even with just having a power seat bottom, it is more adjustable than the Mach-E seat bottom, even though they have a power seat back in those. In most of those, I should say. I know mine has it, and mine's a California Route 1. But this XLT, doesn't have the bigger battery. It's not necessarily loaded out, but like how it's spec'd. But of course, I'm used to these. The 22 prices were like $5 or $6 grand less. And that makes it a big difference between getting a truck that's 59,000 and then getting one that's whatever this one was spec'd out, like 67 or something like that. So for me, there's a big difference between 5 and a 6, but still, you do get a lot with these, especially if you're gonna hold out long term. Because people can say what they will about the batteries, but they have a 100,000 mile warranty on them. But most cars that have warranties, stuff always lasts longer than the warranty does. So it's not like these will start going out necessarily after 100,000 miles. Because I have 40,000 miles on my Mustang and haven't had any issue out of that whatsoever. Haven't seen a big loss of range either. Now I have the truck in sport mode now, and I think I forgot to mention the buttons up here. So this is going to be your parking sensor toggle, traction control, hazards here, and then you can toggle your camera there. And there's a little storage pocket up there. But again, this truck just has so much on, it's easy to get lost in trying to show everything. But the one pedal drive, I appreciate quite a bit. Once you get used to it, it's super simple, and it allows you to get as much regen as possible. And it's just nice to not have to go between the throttle and the brake pedal as much. So in sport mode now, as we get on the interstate, I'm gonna put my foot into it just for a second. All right, here we go. Yeah, acceleration is just crazy. And what makes it feel even faster is you're not hearing an engine rev up, you're not hearing turbo spool or anything like that. It's just almost silent. All you can hear is just a small screech from the tires. I'm gonna put the cruise on now. So you don't get the Pro Pilot system with this Lightning. So all you pretty much have is a lane departure warning system. But for this kind of range, it's not like you're gonna be taking it necessarily on super long road trips. You have that capability, but for the most part, you're driving this back and forth to work. You're gonna be towing something, you're gonna be hauling light loads for short distances. It's gonna be used for work and commutes for the most part. So you don't necessarily need it, and it's not necessarily a big pro, especially if you have this traffic like I do here. The cruise control, the adaptive cruise, really doesn't do much because cars are everywhere at all times. You're having to maneuver and pay attention 100% of the time, so not really a big deal there. But I mean, it rides so smoothly on the interstate. Very impressive. So in terms of mass-produced competitors, you really only have the Rivian R1T because everyone else isn't to market yet. That'll probably change the next couple of years, but this is still the better option in my opinion because you have more choices. Ford's been around a little longer than Rivian, I would say, and this is a full-size truck, and it's just a better option in my opinion. But this will bring me to the end of my review of this Ford F-150 Lightning XLT.